Alright, I think it's time I shared the story about why the Jinryu Memorial Tournament really got cancelled. It was not because I couldn't get enough people or server issues or technical difficulties with the mods. Nope, it was all because of the actions of one guy who pulled a Zamasu pretending to be a good guy when really I think he just had his own agenda to do whatever he wants. So I actually made a video about this subject before about this guy, but due to the harassment and the situation changing, I ended up deleting it. So it's time to go over why I put the tournament on hold. So I went to Jin's website, went to the thread saying, hey, I'm doing a Jin Memorial Tournament and to pay respect to him, to do a tournament, yada yada yada. So people started joining the Discord. And one of the issues we had was, well, what I had was a lack of a server, getting everything working out. At the time, I had bad internet, and I couldn't exactly afford a server. So this one guy who joined was named James, offered to buy and own the server for us, which I really respect him for. It was a kind gesture, a nice thing to do, and I really appreciate him for it. It was very nice. So we had a server, everything was ready to go, and I had a plan for this server. What I wanted to do with the tournament was, for one, make it like how Jin did his live stream tournaments. He got players from his server, and what they had is what they had, like all the levels they got, the skills, etc. I also wanted to be based off each chapter of Dragon Ball. So what I wanted to do was make it like Dragon Ball, and have a limit of a few races and skill numbers. Just like maybe, I think it was 15 for each. However, a few others, but mostly James, who was the most vocal about it, didn't like it. Complained about the lack of races, and I tried my best to explain how I wanted it to go from Dragon Ball to Dragon Ball Super. Just build up, have the levels go up, have the species show up more, enable more abilities and skills, etc., etc. Just build up in the series, and then after, then I was going to be more, how shall I say, custom and creative with the rules and how the tournaments are performed, and take in requests and ideas from other people. That's when it would be more open. I just want it to be humans, Namekians, and Saiyans. However, he, of course, complained, saying that it was unfair, unbalanced, yada yada yada. So I tried my best to play along, balance things out, taking his suggestions and change things up a bit, trying to make it fair. I think I even went through the configurations trying to nerf out the species a little bit. I think, but it's been a while, so I don't remember exactly everything I did. This was like a year ago. So I can't remember every little detail that I did, but I know that I did my best to appease him, trying to make everything balanced and something everyone can enjoy. But I still try my best to get my point out there that I was trying to do this a specific way, and then I was going to make this more, should I say, custom. More ideas, interesting rules to make the tournament more interesting, like maybe out of bounds, transformations only, for example, Ozaru tournament, Super Namekian versus Ozaru, etc. Of course, he complained about that too, but still. So, as I wanted to do this a very specific way, he of course complained, and no matter what changes I was willing to make and what I was willing to bend to appease him, he still had his issues. So, cooperation was something that was lacking. And he just didn't see eye to eye what I was trying to do. This was the Jin Memorial Tournament, so I wanted to do how he would do it, how he did it in his live streams. If you're not strong enough and you lose, then you need to train harder. That's how tournaments work. It's what you do in martial arts. You train, and when you realize that your opponent is stronger than you, that is the motivation to train harder for next time so you can improve. That's one of the tournament's main things about it. They motivate you to go and train yourself harder to surpass your opponent. But as usual, he just didn't care about my ideas and cared more about balance, what he wanted. He wanted to change so many things. He was really controlling over my tournament. This is my project. I invited him. Did anyone say he was the second or assistant developer of this whole tournament? No. He joined as a participant. He came to me, to my Discord. He joined my server to participate in the tournament. I said nothing about him being an assistant or one of the developers or something like that. He was just a normal participant, and yet he thinks he had all the power and his word matters. I get it. He was just trying to say, I don't know if this will work, but it was not what I was going for. He went a complete opposite direction of what I envisioned. I even did my best to bend over backwards to make things the way he would like it, to make it quote-unquote fair in his eyes, even though I just wanted to be like Dragon Ball and make it up to Dragon Ball Z and etc, 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 and he just had so many reasons to complain. Oh, why can't we just have the Frieza race? Oh, that's not fair. What if people start off as this race? Yada, yada, yada. Well, I'm sorry, but this is how I envisioned it. That's how I wanted to go, and I did not say that you can change it. And speaking of him being controlling, he added so many unnecessary mods to this freaking tournament. I just wanted to be Dragon Block, just the Dragon Block C mod. That's it. That's all it takes. You don't need architecture mods and a sitting mod and just other pointless stuff. He added all these useless things that you will not need for the tournament. Why do we need a sitting mod when there's going to be no audience joining the server and it's only going to be footage of the fighters? Who cares if you sit? Who cares if you have the RPG mod? Who cares about the architecture mod? We're not making fancy houses and buildings. Oh, what do people want to build houses? Well, if you want to, that's fine. But my point is I want everyone to train. So goofing off is not something you should be considering. But as usual, he did not care at all and added at least, I think, 27 to at least 40 mods. Unnecessary mods. Why would we need that many mods? I don't know. But it's his server. He can do whatever he wants. He just was going the complete opposite of what I was trying to do. He made the server into what he wanted. He was trying to make changes to my project into what he wanted. I wish that I saw what he was trying to do a long time ago, but he owned the server, and I thought he was a cool guy at first, but I just didn't see what was right in front of me. But anyway, we got the server started. He's doing things against my will. And looking back, I guess it was kind of a good idea to make NPCs be like an event that people can train with. But I kind of wanted to stick with what Jin added for training, like shadow clones and that mind training thing. And they could just either spar with each other or fight mobs. I just wanted to be like a vanilla way, but he's just like, no, we should do this, help him out, blah blah blah. It's like, that's not how I envisioned it. I want it to be like Dragon Ball. I just want them to train. And instead, you're making this event that gives them more points than it should. You're making it too easy for them. You're handing them the freaking... And one of the other things he wanted to do was just give people the points and have them choose the attributes to level up. I almost couldn't say attributes to level up. But again, I wanted to have a time limit. I wanted them to train. I want them to build up their strength, and if they're weaker than the opponent and they lose, oh well, there's always next time. They can always try again. They can learn from the experience. Let's see, I didn't level up my health enough, so I gotta train my body, level that up so I can have more endurance and strength and whatever it is that they were lacking. Hence what the tournament is for. It's what it does to people. It motivates them. But James' ego was stronger than any Super Saiyan. So, anyway, server's going on, arguments continue. And while everyone was doing that, I'm looking for land. I'm trying to find a good spot to set up the tournament. Eventually, I find a nice spot. So, first of all, I had to talk to him to enable explosion damage, so I can use TNT to make the land flatter, faster. But I was just like, man, it's taking a while having to click on every single block and use TNT. It's taking so much time. And he's like, why don't you use World Edit? Which is something I didn't know he had, and something I didn't know how to use. So he teleported to me, he used it to remove the blocks, make the land flatter, and then he added the stone slabs that I was going to do. So I was like, okay, thanks, okay, I guess he did it for me. And that was something else he complained about. Apparently, it's going to be too bland, and we should make it like this, or just put more detail, put more effort into it, blah, blah, blah. But as usual, he wasn't seeing eye to eye with my vision. I was trying to make it like the World Martial Arts Tournament from Dragon Ball Z, but apparently, again, that wasn't good enough for him, because apparently in his mind, this was his project, which is something he didn't realize that was mine. Sure, he bought the server, but that doesn't give him rights to control my tournament project, which was something that was really getting on my nerve with this guy. He was just so annoying without controlling and just demanding. It's just like, I want to do this. No, it should be like that. It's not your call. Again, you're a participant. You're not a developer. You're not anyone who's like top on the leaderboard, like whatever, rank with me to help make this project. You're not a assistant mind or whatever. You're just a participant. But that's not all. That is not all. Later on, fights continue, and then he snaps out of nowhere and goes on about how I put little effort into this tournament, saying how I sat on my ass and did absolutely nothing but bitch and complain or whatever. When, first of all, what am I supposed to do? What do you want me to do? I'm the host. For one, I'm not participating in the tournament. I'm the one who's recording the tournament. I'm the host, the announcer, the YouTube guy, the cameraman. But again, that wasn't good enough for him. And he goes on about how he had to do everything himself, when first of all, he wasn't even asked to. Yes, he suggested to buy the server. That was his call. He was being nice. He wanted to help. He saw that there was some issues, that I couldn't afford it. No one had a way to get a server. Everything wasn't working out. So he said, hey, I'll buy the server. I'll do it. I'll host it for us. Not exactly in those words, but still he said he would do it. Again, no one asked him to. It was his choice alone. No one made him. No one forced him. And yet he's all like, oh, you didn't do anything. I bought the server with my money. And then he goes about how I had to do the arena myself when you didn't do anything but sit back and make everyone else do all your work. When I was like, for one, I was trying to, and you had the explosions off, which didn't help me. And then you told me about the world edit, and you teleported to me, and again, unannounced, no one asked you to, you did it on your own terms. You chose to do it for me. I didn't ask you to build the damn arena. Yet you came over, you did it for me. Again, thought was another helpful gesture. I was like, okay, I didn't ask you to do it, but thanks, you helped out. You saved some time for me. And he calls me lazy. He said I'm not putting any effort. I wasn't doing anything when he took over himself. And I told him that every time he said something. I said, you chose to. You did it. I didn't ask you to. You did. You chose to do it yourself. Not my problem that you're taking my job without me asking you or telling you to. You're taking upon yourself to do my job, and you're calling me lazy when you're doing all my work that I didn't even ask you to do? So how is that my fault? And no matter how many times I pointed that out, he's never in the wrong, apparently. He chose to, but it's my fault because I didn't put any effort into anything. But despite the obvious facts, everything against him, that it's obvious that it's his doing, again, all my fault, not his fault. He had to because he had to. But it doesn't end there, my friends. Oh no, it did not just end there. The fighting just continued. He complained and argued that everything wasn't balanced, despite how many times I explained to him my vision, what I wanted to do, but apparently he was blinded at it, like as if he never saw it, and continued the argument that it wasn't balanced, it wasn't fair, and that like full potential or whatever was not around in Dragon Ball when Master Roshi clearly used it, his full power, several times. So, but despite that, we couldn't allow full potential, which is something he did not allow when it was painfully obvious. And I wasn't the only one arguing that. Someone else even said, well, Roshi did use that. Full potential was a thing, so give everyone 100%. And he still refused, continuing to argue, standing by his opinion, by his word. If it's not what he thinks, then it's wrong. And he continued to argue that fact over and over. It still wasn't a thing. No one used full potential. It wasn't around Dragon Ball. It doesn't matter. Master Roshi did. Blah, 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 blah. And again, it does not end there. So time goes on, and if I remember correctly, we just went on with it. Despite the constant arguments and how I just wanted to do things like Dragon Ball and then be creative, those fights continued on. Eventually, we had the first tournament, and it was kind of okay, except I kind of forgot the microphone, so you couldn't exactly hear me. So that was a disappointment. But anyways, time goes on. He then suggests an idea to help get more participants in. And he took this to his Discord server. And I did figure out that he was doing that so he can have more power. He can have more support and more control over the roles and what people do. And probably to get support of his little selfish, pricky friends too. So we go there, and of course, more fighting about the tournament it's balancing. When I share the tournament rules, of course, his friends are almost as heartless as he is, but just as bitchy. More vocal about it, though. Being extremely rude for no good reason. Especially this one guy, I can't remember his name at all, really let me have it. So again, for the plans and the rules of the second tournament, it would be the Saiyan saga. So Saiyans were allowed, some more moves were allowed, and even Ozaru. And that was an issue. Even though if I recall, an Ozaru was a request of someone else. I think, like I said, it's been a while. I don't remember if it was one way or the other, but whatever. So more fighting continues about balancing and more people getting involved, his own little lackeys even getting in about it. How it's unfair and how we should include more races when, again, I had to explain constantly what I had envisioned. And even when I explained how after it's going to be like more customization, free rules and other things to make it more interesting, I even just gave ideas. I wasn't going to do it. It was just examples. And he was like, oh, that's still not balanced. No one's going to want that, blah, blah, blah. No, it's what you don't want. It's like, what's wrong with Ozaru versus Super Namek? I mean, seriously. What's wrong with that? Oh, the Ozaru is stronger. The people are going to take forever transforming. That was his complaint about Ozaru's in the second tournament. It's like, first of all, people got to look up and stare at the moon. It's going to be unfair, blah, blah, blah. Well, I just said you're going to have to find an opportunity. And, oh yeah, one of the other complaints was Kaioken. Because with Saiyan Saga, I wanted to include that. And they said it's Kaioken is stronger for Saiyans and it's unbalanced. The Ozaru is not a good idea. Blah blah blah. It's like I didn't know what to do about that. It's like it's how it goes in the show, but even though it's stronger for Saiyans, I think my idea was to go into configurations and edit it to make it so it's not so strong. But no matter what ideas I came up with and changes I made, everyone, especially him, still complained. So all his friends in that server, like, harassed me. I am not kidding when I say everyone attacked me with insults, calling me an idiot, a dumbass, a dipshit, blah, 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 retarded, etc. It was ridiculous and over something so simple. But like I said, this one guy was really letting me have it. He was giving the rudest insults of all, calling me unnecessary names, and all this is a freaking tournament for Minecraft. I mean, why are you getting so mad over a Minecraft project, a tournament? It's not like there's money involved or anything, and yet everyone is getting so angry. And then, just when I think James couldn't be more of a dick, so he had a role set up for that channel about like owner or I think it was called like master or something like that. I can't remember what the role was. It's been so long. I can't believe I forgot. But anyway, he changes my rank to no longer being like the head developer or whatever, like the mastermind behind it all. And just pouring salt on the wound, putting a lemon and squeezing it into the wound, he made it the guy who harassed me the most as the new leader of the tournament, which was like the final end of the call for me. I'm like, what? Why would you do that? And he's like, well, you refuse to cooperate with everyone, so until you decide to play nicely, to calmly work with everyone, cooperate, then I'll give you your rank back. I'm like, excuse me? Because we talked in private messages. We talked about this, so I decided, fine, I'll make changes to make it fair. So I changed the rules. I made things that everyone wanted to be, and still nobody liked it. So I'm like, seriously? I made all those changes. I balanced it out. What more do you want? And he was like, okay, that's it. And even though I was just trying to talk to everybody, like, what's wrong with it? Like, I made the changes. He removes my rank from my own project. He takes over my own tournament project and gives it to someone else who was harassing me the most just to make it more insulting. And I'm like, give me my freaking rank back. This is my project. And he's like, until you choose to cooperate with them, play nice and be fair to everybody, blah, 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 I will give it back. But right, you're not being fair with everyone. You're being uncooperative. I'm like, you're the one being uncooperative. Wow. Uncooperative with me. I'm trying my best to balance this out, to make it to what you guys like. And he's like, nope, you're arguing, you're causing fights, you're getting attitude, you're being rude to everybody. You're not making it fair. You're a terrible leader. So until you choose to cooperate with everyone, then I'll give it back. So what he's doing is like punishing me like a child. Like he's grounding me or something, like keeping my toy away. Like if you choose to be nice, you'll get this back. I was angry. He was the biggest jerk. I'm trying my best not to say anything worse than that. But he was the most selfish person I have ever met. He took over my own tournament. I said, dude, you're taking over my tournament. You stole my project from me. And he actually said this. He said, now it's my project. He actually said that it's his now. He actually openly admitted that he stole. He stole it. He might as well say, yep, I stole it. He says, it's mine now. I could not believe him. So he stole my project from me, and the other guys on the server rubbing my face like, okay, I'm in control now. We're going to do it this way. So it's as if he told them to say like, okay, we got to make this as horrible for him as possible. So let's just rub it in. And that's what they did. Rub it in and just completely just like threw away everything I was doing. Stole my project. And I think that was his plan all along. He was trying to get in. And I actually gave him the key. He's like, can you make me a head or whatever? Like, give me a, what's it called? Make him a moderator. Is that what it is? Like, make him a mod. Make him a administrator or whatever. So I did that, made a rank for him so he can keep the control of things on the server, like to do to help me out, to set things up like roles and all that. And he kind of just, that was like his first step. It was like, okay, first gotta become the advisor, and then I'll overthrow the king kind of thing. So then he took it to his server where he's in more control and has more support, and then he just pulled the rug from under me and he stole my project. This was my tournament, and I was really letting him have it, because he's going on about how Jin was his friend, and I said, like, I don't think that that's what he wants. He'll probably be on my side and think you're a complete jerk, and blah blah. And he's like, don't you say that about my friend. And I was like, well, this is a Jin Ryu Memorial Tournament. This was in his name, and you're pretty much just like pissing and shitting all over it. And he would not, and I'm pretty sure he would not approve of what he was doing. I don't even think Jin will approve. He would probably try to make it fair for both sides. He would be the voice of reason. He would be like, let's do this, and then it's like, let's stop this. And I'm sure he would have worked everything out. And I pointed that out to him. It's like, Jin will not approve. He would even think you're a dick or whatever. He would not be happy about it. It's like, don't you say that about my friend. It's like, well, it's true. I may not have known him like you did, but I'm pretty sure he would be the voice of reason here. I'm pretty sure he would not take a side, and he would try to negotiate and make things where it's happy. Everyone is happy. Because James was being controlling, and then the war with us really started. I even had support. Someone even told me that he was like this before on another roleplay. He was controlling. He wanted to change things. He would not approve things, and he would just like take over the project from somebody else. So I had something against him. So I had to abandon that, do things on my own, because James completely took over. So I'm on this other Dragon Block server, just doing advertisement, and meanwhile we're talking in private messages, and eventually we worked things out, and we talked, things kind of cooled down. This is like water under the bridge, and I guess we resolved it. So I just go back on there, and I'm just advertising my tournament, and I mentioned something about the situation to, I think, the owner on there, and just when me and James were finally cool, and I think he planned this too. He saw this as an opportunity to make things worse for me, because apparently he didn't like me from the start for whatever reason. He swoops in, joins chat, and he's like, excuse you, you're like this and that, and you weren't cooperative, and I had a reason to do that, and I took that from you for a reason, because you're being cooperative, you're being a dick, you're doing this to me and that, blah, 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 blah. Over-exaggerating some things. If I recall, there were a few things that wasn't even true, and I felt betrayed. I was like, I thought we worked things out. Why are you coming back out of nowhere just to attack me? He's making me look like the bad guy, getting me worked up, and when I'm trying to defend myself, apparently, according to some other people on there, I'm making myself look more guilty when I'm the one attacked, and I even have proof of everything I'm saying, and I get banned because of James. Because James had to come in and lie and start things up all over again when we finally worked things out with each other, comes back in and starts it up all over again just to get me in trouble and banned. I'm not kidding. He betrayed me. Just when we were done talking, we were like, okay, water's under the bridge. Sorry, okay, fighting's over. Just after that, he backstabs me and gets everyone mad at me. And I lose the best serve I had to get fighters. He ruined it. He sabotaged me again. I had a few people on my side, even though I pointed that out about what he does. Still didn't believe me. And I had to end up going to a much smaller Dragon Block server. I was angry. And I mean angry. He pissed me off. He betrayed me several times. He stole my project. Not only that, betraying me, getting me blocked, getting me kicked out of a server, lying about me, lying to me, getting people to attack me, making things so it's his terms by going to his server, which I regret doing. I did argue against it, but eventually went with it. He kind of did it on his own anyway, because apparently he still thought this was his project, even though he only joined as a participant. I didn't really realize what he was doing till after. I should have realized he was trying to claw his way up into power. I should not have made him a mod. I should not have given him more control of my server, because apparently that made him think, oh, that must mean I'm more control of the project than anyone else. More than he thinks he is, really. Because apparently he thought he was over me, this was his project, but I just made him even higher on the list. So I'm stuck in this tiny little Dragon Block server. Unlike the other one, which actually had more people to it, it was a little bit bigger. But I was given another server to go to by someone who was trying to help me out, solve my situation. So thank you to that guy. Because James completely just screwed me over. So that's about it with that chapter. In Minecraft chapter, at least, he sabotaged, he stole, he lied. He was not as nice of a person as I thought he was. He was selfish, he was rude, he was controlling, and someone even told me that because in another roleplay, he did the same thing. He was controlling, he would get upset about everything. He was this being told jerk, and I believe that because he did that to me. He stole my tournament project. So yeah, I know he's a big a-hole. I've experienced it for myself, and I will never forgive him for that, and I made sure he knew that. But I'm not going to go into any more details. This video's gone long enough, and the rest of the details and stories about what he did to me are not Minecraft related. So part 2 is going to be on my other channel. So if you want to find out what else James did to make my life more of a living hell and annoy me further, make sure you check out part 2. So anyway, that's why the tournament is postponed. Because all the progress was taken, sabotaged, and ruined by one selfish person's actions. One man alone destroyed it all. So that's why. I couldn't get any more fighters. I lost everybody because of James. I lost the server because of him. I lost the progress because of him. I got kicked out of a server where I can recruit people because of him. I got blocked out of it because of him. I lost everything, all the progress that I worked on to achieve because of him. If he's watching this, I hope you're proud of yourself. You're the biggest douche in Minecraft history. I'm sure Jen will approve of your actions. See you all in the next part, everybody.